First up today, we have the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. Now, this is basically a race that's giving riders from Malaysia, Japan, Indonesia, Turkey, Australia, Philippines, Thailand, and the rest of the whole Asia and Oceania region the chance to get into MotoGP, isn't it, G?
Yeah, well, it's Moto3 is really the jump-off point from this, but it's exactly that. Some of the riders that you're seeing under there, this might be a familiar scene to you to see bikes on the start line, but there are actually kids on those bikes. The age group is 13 to 20, and this is now round 3, or actually it's actually round 4, taking into account the official test. It's been moving through Thailand and Qatar and Japan. It was in Thailand in March. It was in Qatar also in March, and then Japan in June before coming up to Sepang here. And what this is about, these kids have been handpicked from 114 hopeful riders, and there's such a great pool of talent in Asia anyway, but they were picked from Asia, Australia, and New Zealand, and now 22 of them have been competing in this season. It's actually the 4th year that the Asia Talent Cup has been on, and it has already provided stars, but it's great to see these guys here up at Sepang. Obviously, with Sepang, Ross, we have to mention this now while these guys are on the grid. It's the 5-minute board, as you can see, so there's still a few people on the grid that need to be cleared, but look at the weather that we are facing. The weather is such an amazing concern up at Sepang every time there's a race. Sometimes it's sunny, it's always hot, but sometimes it could be rainy as well.
Absolutely. I can tell you that now, being lunchtime, there and thereabouts, it's certainly the highest point the track temperature will be at, probably.
Well, we were here for round 2, of course, not for the Asia Talent Cup, but round 2 of the Superbike Championship, and track temperatures back then, and that was in March, were reaching up to 54 degrees centigrade. So you add on to that, you know, the leathers and the bike and everything else, and you're talking so very, if these kids are going to be getting experience from the Asia Talent Cup, that's the experience they're going to be getting. One of the hardest tracks to really get some speed up on anyway, but let's hope for some good weather today.
Absolutely. Now we take a look at the starting grid there.
One of the Onshu brothers.
Yeah.
I'll get into them a little bit later on, but Deniz and Can Onshu from Turkey, both 14 years old. You can see they have made a name for themselves already by putting themselves up on the top row of the grid with Rusi Yamanaka in the middle.
Then it's followed by Haruki Noguchi, Jerry Salim, and of course Malaysian hope Azrai Anwar.
And Haruki Noguchi there is actually championship leader at this point as well. Koji Hirama, Lucky Hendriancia, and Krichapon Kayasonthi is round 7, 8, and 9 on the grid.
In 10th, you've got Irfin Firmancha, Takuto Suzuki in 11th, and Reed Batty.
Now, a lot of these Japanese riders have been causing a bit of a stir. Another Malaysian there in 13th, Haziq Hamdan, Genki Nakajima, and Shairul Suhaimi, 13, 14, and 15 on the grid.
16, 17, and 18, you've got Koki Suzuki, Kai Saito, both from Japan, and Koko Tadachi.
And 19th, Bima Arfin, with a qualifying time of 2:24.347. And that's our starting grid for today. Now, what these riders are going to do is, now that we're down to most probably, I'd say, the 3-minute board or the 2-minute board, is as you can see the grid clearing. They'll be off on a sighting lap, which is essentially a warm-up lap, and after that, they'll regain their positions. Now, these, as we have a quick look at the current weather situation at Sepang, and all looking good so far, but things can change very, very quickly. That's turns 1, 2, and 3. A lot of action.
I've got to tell you, our producers forecast rain for this afternoon.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say there's a fair forecast.
There's a fair chance of that. But yeah, these kids, shall I call them kids, they're going 13 laps around this 5.5 kilometer track, Sepang circuit.
On very powerful bikes as well.
On very powerful bikes.
These bikes are Honda NSF 250Rs. I'm talking about 2-stroke Hondas, and they, well, 13,000 RPM on them. They're seriously powerful things, and great experience for them to have. Now,
I think when I was 13, I was still gluing my fingers together.
Exactly. But there is such a pool of talent in Asia, and that's what these things have been set up for. Now, some of the other competitions or events that happen over these Superbike Championship weekends also focus on developing young rider talent. The KTM RC Cup is going to be coming up later on as well, but also coming up today, and Ross and I are going to be in the commentary box for them, the Superbike Championship, the Super Stock Championship, the Open Production 250, and the Super Sport as well. But first up on the itinerary is this, the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup Race 1. As with all race weekends, there'll be race 2 on Sunday as well. Now let's get these riders off onto their sighting laps. And as you can see from a commentator's point of view, not the easiest situation to deal with.
I think that we're looking for the red bikes.
Make sure you look for the red bikes.
With the white numbering.
Very similar indeed. But what this is going to mean, of course, is it's going to be very close racing. Just as we saw in the other championship that also has very similar bikes. Off onto the sighting lap they go with the safety car behind them. If you've just joined us, this is the start of day 1, round 3 of the Pirelli Malaysia Superbike Championship up at the Sepang International Circuit. And you've joined us on the official live stream feed because we are all part of a wonderful new digital future where all sports can be seen all the time. Now, into turn 1, and you immediately see them even on the sighting lap, how close it's going to be, Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. These kids, I suppose it's very much like if you're watching a younger batch of players playing football, it's no fear.
Yeah.
That seems to be the attitude. And coupled with a powerful machinery, you have a very watchable afternoon ahead of you.
Well, there has been a debate raging over the last few years as to whether 2 wheels or 4 wheels has been producing the most excitement in motorsports, and with the exploits, obviously, of MotoGP. Now, if you are new to Superbike, the Superbike category in motorsports, then it is essentially, if F1 is MotoGP, then Superbikes are touring cars and the grand touring classes of it. And it has to be said, there's more excitement in some of these races in terms of closeness than getting to the extreme model, which is, MotoGP is of course competitive, but in terms of F1, you could certainly say 4 cars are going to win it. 1 of 4 cars are going to win it. Whereas here, you have 19 riders all on the same bike, and what is determining for the difference between them is exactly what you said, the hunger and the lack of fear that youth has in it.
Yep, absolutely. And having said that, keep an eye out for the 2 Onshu brothers from Turkey, Can and Deniz, numbers 3 and 7. They would be ones to look out for as the riders are completing at the moment or going round on their sighting lap.
Now, just give you an update on the championship standings. As I said, Haruki Noguchi is the championship leader currently. Big win in Japan in race 1 for him. There were the 3 rounds beforehand in Thailand, Qatar and Japan. In second place, Yuki Kuni, also from Japan, on 85 points. He had a big win in the Qatar race. That was race 3. And for Malaysia, of course, our highest Malaysian is Azrai Anwar in 5th spot. And he had a good 2nd place, not just in the opening round in Thailand, but also in Japan as well. So a little bit of an update as to how things have been going as the riders now finishing up with their sighting lap.
So current championship leader is one to look out for, bike number 9, Haruki Noguchi.
And he is 4th on the grid. So then, obviously, Onshu brothers, bikes number 3 and 7. You can expect them to be fighting as well. And Azrai Anwar is bike number 20. And he is starting 6th on the grid. So, ready to go. Man with the red flag, be followed by the man with the green flag. And that will get the ATC Asia Talent Cup Race 1 underway. And there is that man with the green flag.
The lights come on.
And we are go.
This is the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup.
And immediately it is, there's Deniz Onshu. He's taking the lead at number 7 bike.
Closely followed by
Haruki on the inside, our championship leader. He's going to have to settle into about 4th or 5th going to turn 1. He has indeed. As I said, with all of them wearing similar We're just going to wait for them to get through the 3 sectors that make up the full circuit of the Sepang International Circuit. They've just been through Sector 1 for 32 seconds, and it is Kan Onshu, in fact, that's up front. Ryushi Yamanaka in second, and Denis Onshu, his brother, in third.
And the current leader in 4th position, bike number 9, Haruki Noguchi. They're doing Sector 1 in about 32 seconds. It will get faster, of course.
Second. Sector 2 is the faster, has the more long and sweeping turns. They're just finishing that. Pretty similar to the first, 32 seconds as well. Now, once they all settle into their lines, of course that's what that sighting map is all about. We're going to see who's going to be pushing these Honda NSF 250s faster. Well, that's a great lead that Kan Onshu is already building up at the front. Azroy Anwar right now in 6th. So no improvement from his grid position. It looks like Denis Onshu actually that was just up front.
Jerry Salim's up there as well. I see bike number 4.
Well,
so
that really is off.
So it is Kan Onshu leading.
But look at the way
Dennis
he's
is
leading.
second. About to be taken here by Jerry Salim, who's definitely rampaging.
Well, we've got this huge battle happening for 2nd to 6th, and there's not going to be much between them, that's for certain. But it is amazing this distance that Kan Onshu has managed to keep up. Now we've had an incident. Just had a flash of one of the riders off.
That could be Reed Batty.
Could be Reed Batty. The timing systems we have here in the commentary box have not logged in Reed Batty and Shahrul Suhaimi, so we're assuming it's those two that were the result of that.
This is the leader at the moment, bike number 3, Kan Onshu.
And that does in fact look like Shahrul Suhaimi, number 19.
Out.
So he's out. And we're going to have to take it that Reed Batty's also joined him. So our top 3 again, Kan Onshu, Jerry Salim and Haruki Noguchi.
Followed by Denis Onshu, Chan's brother, Risui Yamanaka, the current championship leader, and Azroy Anwar is keeping in there in that leading pack in 6th. He's bike number 20.
Well, it's still early days, but this would be a good performance from Kan Onshu if he could keep his position exactly where it is. It was his brother that has been putting in a little bit more of, or delivering more of the points with a double win in Thailand in round 1. Chan, on the other hand, has still finished with points, but not necessarily the highest of them. As we see them coming through again. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the point scoring system, it's 25 points for first, 20 for second, third for 16 points for third, and then after that you still actually score points all the way down to 15th position, which is 1 point for 15th.
So Kan Onshu's now opened up a 1.3 second gap between himself and the second place bike of Jerry Salim, and then you've got the next 5 pretty much bunched together in under a second between them.
Well, that's the battle there, right there, which we're watching. But it's, as I was saying, it's amazing that how Kan Onshu, remember these are all exactly the same bikes, has managed to carve out already such a great lead after having an okay season.
And Denis Onshu has decided to join his brother up there. The gap's now 2 seconds between Denis and his brother Chan, who is leading.
Now we're just to put it into perspective, Kan Onshu has had a few fourths, he's had a few 7ths, but he's never really been in the top 3. So this would be a very good part. Remember that there's still further rounds after this, and everybody is trying to make the best impression will be Motegi, in fact, in Japan, in October. That's going to be the next round of the Asia Talent Cup. So, and another round after that. The finale will be back here at Sepang on the 29th of October. So, plenty of points to still be riding for. Now, while I say that, current championship leader Haruki Noguchi has actually dropped a place, and it's Azrai Anwar that's overtaken him, and that's in that chasing pack which Ross was talking about. There's only a second between them. They're all lapping around 2:18. Chan On-Chu, our leader, at 2:17.
Just to give you a perspective, the gap between our leader Chan On-Chu and the current last bike of Bima Arfin, that's an 18-second gap between the first and the last bike.
And it's lap 3.
It's lap 3.
And these are the same bikes, and that makes you wonder a little bit. Well, it should, because that really does come down to picking a riding line and putting pedal to the metal. But this battle for second to sixth, Dennis On-Chu, Ryushi Yamanaka, Azrai Anwar, and Haruki Noguchi, is really shaping up into something, especially when it comes into these big hairpins.
Ryushi tried to make a move then, and has he done it now on the inside, Yamanaka?
That is turn 14. And they're back up onto the main straight. And just look at those numbers, 2.695, 2.740, 2.887. All it can take is just one tiny difference in braking and speed and acceleration, and you're through to a higher position.
But what it is saying is Chan On-Chu is riding a very steady race.
He is.
In first position at the moment. The 14-year-old.
Yes, 14 years old, believe it or not. I mean, you watch these things and you think that these are the stars of the future, and that's what the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup
That's
is
the
all
gap,
about.
that's where Anwar is. And the gap between 4th and 5th.
0.1 of a second. 0.1, 0.1, 0.2.
This really is where the action is at the moment, that the group between 2nd and 6th.
Well, that's Yamanaka trying to get to the top of that group, and he's managed to do it. Actually think that for a second, I think that was Jerry Salim.
Chan On-Chu just.
Well, they're all battling it out now. It's really
That's
difficult.
Azrai Anwar there,
Yeah.
currently in 2nd.
Well, with every corner that they go through, and they're now into sector 3, this chasing pack from 2nd to 6th keep changing positions. Azrai Anwar's had his chance at the front. The timing computers have currently logged the last lap, of course, which is Ryushi Yamanaka. So, but as you can see, he's clearly not in front. Azrai Anwar is now in front of that pack, and if he can hold it for these 2 corners, that'll be reflected on the timing computers as well. There he is, the number 20 bike.
But this is Dennis making a move on the outside.
And Yamanaka as well.
Yamanaka as well. You can see.
They've both done it. They've both gone through. What a battle this is.
Which means Azrai Anwar drops back down to 4th as they approach the finish line. Back straight.
Now, with them all, of course, occupied with each other, this just means that the younger On-Chu brother, Chan On-Chu, our leader, is building up a bigger and bigger gap, simply because he has no pressure on his racing line and can pick the exact line that he needs to. And he's now 3.1 seconds ahead of this chasing pack that we're watching. Just to go through the complete list after that, in 7th, Koji Hirama. In 8th, Genki Nakajima. We've got Takuto Suzuki in 10th, Lucky and Ryansha in 11th, Kai Sato in 12th, and Koki Suzuki in 13th. They are all roughly about 4 seconds behind this big battle.
Yeah, we currently have 17 riders on track, 19 started.
That's right, but there was an incident with Reed Batty and Shahrul Suhaimi. All we saw was their empty bikes and Shahrul walking around the side of the track, so we know for a fact they're out. try and get you as many details as possible.
Well, the ever-changing positions between second and fourth.
That's
means,
Azroy.
Yeah,
again.
Azroy Anwar's back up there again in second position, leading Yamanaka and Dennis Honshu. Because they are all chasing Chan Honshu. They are all currently on the fourth lap, and the gap is 3.19 seconds now.
That's between 1 and 2, but between 2 and 7, the gap is 0.5 of a second. It's half a second between these 5. They all know it. They're all trying to stick as well and closely to the line. Now that is Dennis Honshu coming out wide again. That's also Ryushi Yamanaka coming out wide. They seem to have the edge on this turn 14. They always seem to come out on top. That's a beautiful move from Yamanaka.
Azroy Anwar is fighting back there.
I think Yamanaka has finally taken it. Look at them all just battling away. We're going to have to look up to the... I actually think that the time between them has got even less now.
Haruki Noguchi's come in on the action, bike number 9.
But Azroy makes it into turn 1. Well, how is this all going to end up?
Yep, 8 laps to go. It is getting hot on track.
Well, it was 0.5 of a second between second and 6. It's now 0.2 of a second between 3.595 and 3.798 is the difference between these 5 riders, and that's how close it can get when you've got hungry youngsters on similar machines. Belting it around. This is into sector 2 now.
Azroy Anwar at the moment is lapping at 2:17.
We're going to have to break it down, yeah. We're going to have to break down sector to sector, and it is looking like Azroy has come out on top again for sectors 1 and 2. So deserves to be up there. Just see at the bottom of your screen, Chan Honshu. There's Azroy, followed by Haruki, number 9.
Interestingly, Dennis has eased off the pace. He's dropped down to 4th.
Yeah, he has indeed. Well, I also think that this is because Azroy's been putting in some blinding laps. So Azroy deserves to be at the front, and as you can see, he's now slowly pulling away in second. That is Ryushi Yamanaka trying to take him on the inside. So there's that mini battle between 3rd and 4th now. The number 9 bike and the number 12 bike, Dennis Honshu and Ryushi Yamanaka.
Now here comes Dennis on the outside, as he often does.
As you can see that Azroy Anwar now has made up enough space that he can at least dictate these corners.
That's the final bend going into the home straight. Azroy Anwar looks like he's got second for now. The gap between him and leader Chan Honshu is 4.07 seconds.
Well, that was interesting little swerve that we saw from Haruki, Dennis, and Yamanaka. Now that is Krichapon Kawisanti, Takuto Suzuki, and Genki Nakajima. And they are in 8th, 9th, and 10th. Just shown there, 15 seconds off the leader. And once again, Azroy just enough to stay ahead of this chasing pack.
Now, if you've just joined us, you are watching the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. It is a breeding ground, if you like, for future MotoGP riders. You're looking at riders as young as 13 years old on track here.
Look at how close they are as well.
No one older than 20.
Well, that was a very daring move indeed by Yamanaka in the middle of that pack.
Yep, you've got a 14-year-old Chan Honshu currently leading 4 seconds ahead of Azroy Anwar, who's a stately 17, shall we say?
He's stately 17 and also, of course, representing home soil. The highest Malaysian up here. The other Malaysian, of course, Raul Suhaimi, has had troubles and is out. So So Azroy is flying the flag for the home fans for sure. And he's also flying it pretty well. Now has 0.4 second gap ahead of Haruki Noguchi, the championship leader at this point in time. 2 races, of course, one today and one tomorrow. Tomorrow, I can tell you, will be roughly around about lunchtime. If you're intending to tune into the official live stream. Now, that is Ryushi Yamanaka that again seems to have the edge on turn 14.
I think he's taken second spot away from Azroy Anwar.
A great move.
And in fact, Noguchi as well has edged in front. It's Noguchi and Dennis, but Azroy
again
holding firm, keeping a great line.
Well, it's almost as if Azroy has the best run through turns 1 and 2, and Ryushi Yamanaka has the best run through turn 14s and 15 going into the home straight. So that's happened over the last 3 or 4 laps. 6 laps to go now. What a great race from this young lad here, Chan Onchu.
Young lad is right. 14-year-old Turkish rider, currently finding himself a good 4.5 seconds nearly in front of the second place rider. He's, don't want to put mockers on it, but pretty solid ride so far.
Him and his brother, in fact, Dennis and Chan, have lit up the Asian Talent Cup this year. It's 4th season, but they really have shown themselves to be great stars. As we look down at the timings, we've just seen now, down to 12th, 25 seconds off the pace halfway through the race.
Hasik Hamdan on bike 11 is not finding it so easy going. He's currently in 15th.
Yeah.
But again, as we have done for most of this race, we're sticking with this chasing pack, the battle for P2 at the moment. The pack of Yamanaka, Noguchi, Azroy Anwar, and of course Dennis Onchu, bike number 7.
Now this pack have been fighting
Jared Salim in there
tooth
as well.
and nail, and again Yamanaka comes out, and again Dennis Onchu just behind him, taking that center line. Can Azroy cut in? No. Once again, Ryushi Yamanaka knows what he's doing.
Certainly on that turn 14 and turn 15.
Well, that's where he's been. That sector 3 for him has really been.
There is the leader, Chan Onchu. And
now he's moved his lead up to 5 seconds.
Here we come, yep, that's the chasing pack, 5.195 seconds.
Well, that's great defending of the line by Azroy Anwar up front. Following him, Ryushi Yamanaka. Following him, Dennis Onchu. Following him, Haruki Noguchi, our current championship leader.
Now Azroy just needs to find some distance between himself and Yamanaka and Dennis Onchu as they go into turn 14.
Well, it's all working out in Chan Onchu's favor right now, the fact that they are fighting each other. There's nothing he would have asked for more than a clear circuit in front of him. Weather seems to be holding up. 5 laps to go, 5 seconds ahead. As long as he can keep that bike in good condition, should be all right. Now that is Lucky Henryansha in 11th, followed by Efin Mamancha in 12th, and Koki Suzuki.
That's a fast lap
13th.
there from Lucky.
That's a good lap, yeah. They are all about 20 seconds off the pace. They're having their own battles, and those are the 2 main battles. There's this one up front. There's one in the middle of the pack.
We're watching the battle for P2 at the moment between bike number 12, Yamanaka, bike number 20, Azroy Anwar, bike number 7, Dennis Onchu, and bike number 9, Noguchi and Jerry Salim, propping up the pack at the moment on bike number 4 as they approach. It's Azroy Anwar again about to be taken. Dennis.
Wow, it's so close, isn't it?
As we approach turn 14, this is.
Well, that was interesting that both Dennis Onchu and Azroy Anwar actually managed to cut off Ryushi's line there. And so for once, he didn't actually have the entry into that home straight that he's been really happy with. Just see them weaving around for position. That is Dennis Onchu up front for once. Azroy's caught in the middle of both of them. Tries on the outside. Cuts in as well. That's really good riding from Azroy Anwar.
Yeah, Dennis Onchu closer to his younger brother now, who is 5.39 seconds ahead. Four laps to go here. This is the first race in this round 3 of the Pirelli Malaysia Superbike Championship 2017. You're watching young talents, homegrown included.
And homegrown doing quite well.
And doing quite well, absolutely.
And that is Azroy there, the number 20 bike. Just saw him at the top of your screen. That's Jerry Salim and Ryushi Yamanaka, who's fallen to the back of that pack.
He has fallen down, dropped down to 4th.
Well, I did say that his racing lines are being cut off. He's now not used to being in that position, that pack. And those two riders, Jerry Salim and Ryushi Yamanaka, just falling behind the likes of Dennis Onchu, Haruki Noguchi, and Azroy Anwar. Important race for Haruki, of course, being the championship leader. He'd love to pick up another 25 points. That looks at this point with 4 laps to go like it's going to be going to Chan Onchu. But if he can get to the front of this trio and pick up 20 points for second, then that will, of course, keep him firmly ahead in the championship standings.
Best lap at the moment belongs to Dennis Onchu. Bike number 7 in your picture there, currently in 2nd position.
Oh, that is interesting and significant as well.
Yeah, 2 minutes 17 he's lapped at. That's even faster than his brother who's leading.
Well, let's just look at it in terms of championship standings. Ryushi Yamanaka is currently in 4th of 71. Haruki Noguchi with 87 points. And he's about 15 points. He's 15 points ahead of Dennis Onchu. So
Azroy Anwar is coming up to take second, and that's beautifully maneuvered. Dennis Onchu had to give way.
So ideally, he's going to have to calculate a little bit as to how much they're all going to fall away in terms of points.
Chan Onchu, bike number 3 leading, currently in 2nd. Azroy Anwar, number 20. 3rd is Dennis Onchu, bike number 7.
Well, that's it. Dennis Onchu and Azroy Anwar and Haruki Noguchi could all do with either the 20 points for 2nd, the 16 points for 3rd, or even the 13 points for 4th. So all of those positions will help their general championship with 2 rounds to go after this, and the finale being in Sepang as well. But obviously all 3 of them are going to be aiming for 20 points, because it does look like Chan Onchu now, he's on 10 laps, will be, if he can keep the reliability of this Honda NSF 250 up to scratch,
yep,
he should be taking the 25 points from race 1.
Now Azroy Anwar is trying to open up a gap between himself and Dennis Onchu. When they complete the segment, we can actually give you the segment times, but
he's been rocketing around there. Absolutely rocketing.
It's a great ride. Yeah, terrific ride from Malaysia. Malaysia's Azroy Anwar.
Now the sole representative for Malaysia has said after the retirement of Sharil Suhaimi. There he is, Azroy Anwar. And he has built up a nice gap now over Dennis Onchu.
That's probably his most comfortable turn 14 yet.
Yeah, for sure. And again, not the most comfortable for Ryushi Yamanaka. Dennis Onchu seems to have him now But these, you know, congratulations and hats off to these 5 riders for having less than a second between them for the entire race. They've been really showing exactly what the ATC is about.
It's a half-second gap Azroy Anwar has between himself and the third-place bike, bike number 7, Dennis Onchu.
You'll be happy with that. Now, Dennis Onchu does not, unfortunately, have the same privilege over 4th place. Ryushi Yamanaka, he is just 0.2 of a second ahead, and Ryushi is 0.1 of a second ahead of Haruki Noguchi. So they've gone down to a trio fight, but
meanwhile, Chan Onchu's put in a lap of 2 minutes 17.5.
Wow.
He's finding a second wind, if you like, with 2 laps to go.
As I said, when you have a clear track ahead of you as well, you've got no pressures, and all the battles are happening behind you. It's a question of focus. There's plenty of things that these young riders can take away from this cup, and it's not just the battles, I suppose. It's also consolidating if you're in front, getting the best out of your bike, but also making sure your bike can handle the full 12 laps.
Now this is the race for second. Azroy Anwar still keeping distance between himself and Dennis Onchu.
Doing well now.
And the chasing pack of Yamanaka, Noguchi, and Salim.
Well, I think Azroy's got enough daylight to make sure he can make it past these 2 laps. I'm not so sure about Dennis Onchu, Ryushi Yamanaka.
That's a great picture. That is the distance between the first and the chasing pack, the next 6 riders.
Just look at 3 to 6, and you'll know what we're talking about. 6.682 to 7.085. That's what you're watching in terms of biking.
And that's another very comfortable turn 14 for Azroy Anwar.
Azroy's done well. As you can see, this is the last lap for Chan Onchu.
5.2 seconds, the gap between first and second, Chan Onchu and Azroy Anwar.
And it looks like they are going to take it right down to the line as well. Battle for 3rd to 6th, we should say now, because Azroy, I think, has done enough. 0.8 of a second ahead. Should be untroubled, but Ryushi Yamanaka, Haruki Noguchi, and Jerry Salim and Dennis Onchu now surprisingly dropped down to 6th. He needs one last burst. So at this point, Haruki Noguchi will be picking up 13 points from race 1. Which isn't too bad to add to this 87 that he's already got. Well, there's a big slip, well controlled by Jerry Salim.
And Yamanaka holding firm to keep that 3rd position for now.
Well, Ross, I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen more of that over the last 10 laps. They've been very well behaved in terms of each other, in terms of respecting each other's lines.
Azroy Anwar, that's a great lap. 2:17. As they come round, this is the last lap for the top 6 riders in your picture.
To Azroy Anwar.
Well done to Chan Onchu.
Well done to Chan Onchu.
Led from start to finish.
Has had no problems whatsoever. And this is his final 2 corners. That's the back straight. Going into turn 15. Near perfect ride from the 14-year-old. And what a start to proceedings as well for the day. I'm sure you're going to see a very happy hand. As I said, his season has been full of 4ths and 7ths, and he's had to watch his brother. Well, right at the end,
Azroy Anwar picked up 2nd. That's a great ride from the Malaysian Jerry Salim.
Believe it or not, Jerry Salim, yes.
Who was 6th all the way through that.
Jerry Salim played the most amazing
He's come from the back and finished up in third. Noguchi in fourth. Yamanaka in fifth. Dennis Onchu dropped down to sixth.
Now, as we watch them just make their way, I'll just give you a bit of information about this Asia Talent Cup. If you've ever wanted to actually become an Asian Talent Cup rider, then these 22 riders are actually selected to participate as well. And the new riders will be chosen at the selection event, which will be held at the Sepang International Circuit right here on the 24th and 25th of October. Write that down. 24th and 25th of October is the selection event. Maybe you could be part of this ATC championship. Who knows? And then I said there will be about 200 riders that'll be selected from.
Yeah,
but if you want to find out more, just get on to www.sepangcircuit.com.
Jeev and I are certainly looking forward to calling your name out.
Well, I'd like, I think, without revealing, I'd say you can have 3 or 4 of these riders filling in for my age. But look, it's a great opportunity. You've just seen exactly how close the racing can be as well. So if you want to be part of it, just remember that the selection process will be on the 24th and the 25th. Well, okay, actually, sorry, just a correction. That'll be the 8th of July to the 13th of August is where you can apply online at www.asiatalentcup.com. That's www.asiatalentcup.com. And the 6th of September, it seems, was when the riders will be, the publication of riders invited for that selection event on the 24th and 25th of October. So to go through that once again, if you want to take part in the ATC, then you can apply online on www.asiatalentcup.com. Do that right now. And then on the 6th of September, there will be a publication of riders invited to the selection event, which is where 200 riders will be, from 200 riders will be picked the 22 for the upcoming season, I'm guessing. That's on the 24th and 25th of October at the Sepang International Circuit. So, now, that's how you get involved if you want to be in Chan Onchu's shoes, and those are the best shoes to be in today.
Absolutely. We've just seen...
he blasted everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely dominated this race 1. But remember, there is race 2 as well for the likes of Azrai Anwar, Jerry Salim, who really pulled a number on everyone right at the end there by finishing 3rd. Haruki Noguchi in 4th, Rishi Yamanaka in 5th, and Dennis Onchu finished 6th in the end. Now, there is another race that will be happening tomorrow on Sunday, and I can tell you the time for that is going to be roughly 12:15. So make sure you're here on the live stream with us. Ross and I will be here for race 2 of the Asia Talent Cup. Let's see if our championship leader, because Haruki, remember, has picked up 13 points with his 4th here, can do any better. The riders are now in the Parc Fermé, where their bikes will be subject to all of the post-race technical review and scrutiny from the race officials. But well done to another Onchu brother.
Yep. Dominated the race, Chan Onchu.
Start to finish, yeah.
From start to finish.
As you can see there, and look at the 4-second gap he's got there as well over Azrai Anwar in 2nd. Jerry Salim sneaked in. Look at the times for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's just a second. That's how close it was. Koji Hirama comes in 7th. Genki Nakajima in 8th. Takuta Suzuki in 9th. And Lucky Hendriansha in 10th.
Then you've got Erfin Firmancha in 11th. Koki Suzuki in 12th. Kai Saito in 13th. Our second Malaysian, Haziq Hamdan, in 14th. Bima Arfin in 15th. Koko Tadachi in 16th. Kichapon in 17th. Of course, and you've got 2 non-finishers there.
Reed Batty.
In fact, the last 3 did not finish. Kichapon, Reed Batty, and Sharo Sahaimi all had problems.
And they were, I think, Kichapon was actually on the 12th lap. And that is race 1 done of the Asia Talent Cup. And as I said, look out for race 2. Now, the podium presentation for that race will be coming up very, very soon. And of course, then it's on with the itinerary. And coming up next will be the Super Sport class. So stick around for that. We'll be back with the prize presentation in just a bit.